Vamos lá. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Brazilian National Committee on Large Dams, I thank Dr. Lee from Chin Code for the invitation to present here briefly some lessons from recent dam accidents in Brazil. I am Alberto Sayal, Associate Professor at the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro, and the agenda for our talk today is I will start with a brief introduction on Brazilian dams and then move on to recent accident. I will talk about 2 accidents and then go on to the final remarks. Here, as we see, Brazil is a very large country with 5 different regions with very different geographic, climatic, and geological conditions. Today, we are going to refer to 2 accidents that happened here in the southeast region of Brazil on tailings dams. Okay, Brazilian dams. We have over 1,000 large dams, which can be defined simply by dams higher than 15 meters. Most of our dams are earth and rock fill. A smaller proportion are concrete dams, and a very small proportion, about 7%, mining tailings dams. Of all those 1,000 or more, we have about 60% of hydroelectric dams. Brazil has a very large hydroelectric potential, about 250 gigawatts. And last year, we were already producing about 90 gigawatts, which is about 36% of our potential. The remaining energy production will probably be concentrated in the Amazon River, the North region, where most of our water is available. But as I said, I will concentrate on the tailings dams. And then, more specifically, I will talk about the cases of Fundão in Mariana village and B1 dam in Brumadinho village, which were the 2 most recent accidents. Most of our tailings dams accidents are due to problems in the drainage system, leading to instability of the dam. As most of them are made with the upstream construction method of heightening, they are prone to liquefaction. And we can define risk of failure as probability of failure times the consequences or damages. And we can summarize saying that at each period of 30 years, 3 decades, the accidents risk is increasing 20 times because the height of dams increases 2 times in the period. Today, we have some tailings dams over 300 meters in height. And as a consequence, the volume of tailings which is related to the consequences, increases about 10 times. So 2 times 10, the increase on the risk of accident is about 20 at each 3 decades period. Let's start with the first case history, which is Fundão Dam in Mariana. As a result, we had 19 people dying. It was happened in November 2015. Schematically, we had the failure of Fundão Dam here at the left, and then all the tailings formed a mud flow, went down the valley and reached the water reservoir of Santarém Dam, which was overtopped, and all this material in a mud flow went down the valley, hitting the village of Bento Rodrigues, which is part of Mariana. Destroyed completely the village, and then the mud flow proceeded on down to reaching the Doce River and went on its way to the Atlantic Ocean. Let's talk about the reports on this tragedy. The first one was the Justice Department report from the Minas Gerais state in southeast Brazil. This report stresses that we had irregularities and negligence of the mining company because of the fast, careless heightening of the dam. Usually, the heightening rate is 9 meters per year, but at the time of the failure of Fundão, the increasing rate was 12 meters per year. Was very fast construction, heightening for accumulating more tailings. The report also stresses that the company knew about cracks in the dam and was careless because remained 10 days before the tragedy without monitoring the dam, taking any readings in the instrumentation. But this report doesn't concentrate on the technical details. For that, we need to go to the expert panel review report, and the expert panel panel was chaired by Professor Morgenstern from Canada, together with 3 other specialists in tailings dams. And I will just mention the 2 main incidents that are described in this report. The first one, about 5 years, 6 years before the accident, showing that the dam had a serious piping incident. And this picture was taken from the report. They say serious construction defects in the drain and filter system happened and they were not repaired. And this was the most important element of the original design, and it remained inoperative till the day of the failure. The second incident described in the panel report final report, is about 1 year before the accident, showing that the cracks in the dam were noted. And this is a picture from the report showing a crack developing at the crest of the dam. The conclusion made by Morgenstern at the lecture he delivered in the National Geotechnical Conference in Brazil 2018 was the causes of Fundão accident were deficiencies in the engineering and operational practices. As a consequence, we had 19 people dying and severe environmental damage, as we see here in this left picture, and also in this picture here, was taken in a beach at the end of Doce River, where it reaches the Atlantic Ocean. Before the tailings reached the ocean was like that. And after all the tailings, we can see that was a severe environmental impact. Well, the second case history is the B1 dam in Brumadinho about 2 years ago, resulting in 300 deaths. This is the front page of New York Times the day after the accident. This is probably a picture that everyone could see, so I will not waste too much time. After this accident, we made a master research at the Catholic University in a back analysis of the B1 dam. And we had a factor of safety of about 1.05 using the Spencer method, rigorous method of slope stability. Together with that, the probability of failure was 1 to 4.5 using the FOSM method. That is the simplest probabilistic method. These are numbers that show that the dam was in a very bad safety condition before the accident. Now, we have a video that I will not show because it takes 5 minutes, but I took some, the main pictures from the video to show here. This is the very first initial image of the video showing that the reservoir of B1 dam was full of water, about 1 meter of water over the tailings due to heavy rain in the days before the tragedy. This one here explains the mechanism of the failure. We see that the crest started moving down vertically at the same time that the base of the dam start bulging severely. It is interesting to show or to stress that this was taken from the safety camera at 12:30 lunchtime. People were having lunch in the restaurant exactly at the downstream region of the dam. But most interesting is that this picture shows that at the time of the starting of failure, we had people, we can see people walking on the downstream slope. And the mining company said that this was a normal thing to happen. But as at lunchtime, mining workers have lunch, they don't walk at the dam. The TV went on searching for answers, and they reviewed this picture taken a few days before the tragedy, showing that a very big drilling device was in operation at the downstream slope, and this was for drilling, for installing new piezometers at the dam. Then the government, or better, the mining company had hired two reports. The main one is this one that was chaired by Professor Peter Robertson, together with 3 other people, to investigate the causes of Brumadinho accident. And they didn't reach only one cause, they have about 5. First, they stressed that the method of construction upstream was not the best one. It is technically dangerous. And they stressed that the dam was very steep. What else? They mentioned that there was a loss of suction due to heavy rain, increasing the water level in the reservoir, in the tailings. They also mentioned about the creep of the fine and loose tailings that remain undrained due to problems with the drainage system. And also, okay, let's go move on. The liquefaction. We have a second report on the causes of this tragedy. This was made by the University of Catalonia in Spain. And I had the opportunity of reviewing this report together with Professor Tesariol from Argentina. And it is clear that the main cause of liquefaction was the high pore pressure at the failure plane due to drilling. Okay, let's talk about the consequence of Brumadinho accident. 300 deaths, severe environmental damage, and a bridge collapse, as we see here. Finally, as a concluding remarks, I can just mention the difference about dam that the reservoir has water and tailings dams. The first one, the water dams, are built in a few years, 4 or 5, and the water is the main asset of the hydro firms, while the tailings dams is built in decades, perhaps 2 decades, and it is the main liability costs of the mining firms. Therefore, they spend less time and less money in studying it. Well, I think that's about the time. I again thank the Chin Code Organizing Committee for this honorable invitation, and in special to Dr. Lee, and I remain available for any discussion that may interest you. Thank you very much again.